Once upon a time, there were two people fighting over a piece of land.
Rabbi, sorry, I know you're really busy today, but I have this lovely little piece of land, and this guy says that it's his.
Rabbi, sorry to do this to you right now, but it is my land. The land is mine.
Well, actually, it's mine because I planted it.
Well, it's mine because I watered it.
Well, it's mine because I harvested it.
It's mine because I paid for it.
You listen to me.
No, you listen to me.
Enough, you listen to me. This is a very complicated matter. You say the land is yours. You say the land belongs to you. I think we have to ask the land.
What did it say?
You say the land belongs to you.
Yes.
You say the land belongs to you.
Yes.
But the land says that you and you belong to it.
We belong to it.
We belong to it.
I mean, I never thought about it that way before.
If that sounds familiar to you, it's because it's exactly the same way that the First Nations relate to our land as well. We're just renters here. We're just passing through. We don't own any of this. If anything, we belong to it. Now, in Jewish tradition, there's two stories of creation. They come from the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and chapter 2. It's a Jewish story, so we have two different versions of creation. In the first story, in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, God creates heaven and earth in all their array, sun and moon and stars, land and sea, birds of the air, fish of the sea, animals, and finally human beings. And then God says to human beings, be fruitful and multiply and fill and increase the earth and dominate it. Now, in the second story of creation in the Garden of Eden, that familiar story of Adam in that garden with Eve, God plants human beings in the garden with all of its beauty and its lush greenery, and says to human beings, this is your responsibility. It's for you to till and to tend the garden. Now, I know those sound like different stories, but in fact, they're deeply related. Fill the earth and dominate it, till and tend the garden. One of them is using the earth for our purposes. We are separated from it, and the other we're deeply connected to it. See, they're not different. They're connected, just as we're connected to the land. In the first, where we're told that we must dominate the earth, we have this godlike power to do that. But in the second, we are told that there are limits to our power, that there is forbidden fruit, that not everything we can do, may we do. We have the power, but not the permission. We have the ability, but not the right. Because the earth is not ours. We belong to it, and it belongs to God who made it. We're not the owners of nature, we are its custodians. And that's a huge distinction, to not own something, but be responsible for caring for it. It's a very Jewish distinction. It's at the core of what it means to have our job to be guardians of the earth, to serve and to care for the land. See, creation places upon us as Jews, and really as all human beings, a very serious task. There is a tremendous burden that comes with being created as guardians of the land. A midrash teaches that when Adam was placed in the Garden of Eden, God took Adam and walked Adam throughout the garden and showed Adam all that God had created, all of the beautiful things in that garden, and said to Adam, as he walked him about, see all of my works, see how beautiful they are, see how wonderful and lush they are, be careful with them. Be careful that you do not destroy what I have created. Because if you do, if you destroy this, there is no one to come after you to fix it. We are to be, our tradition teaches us, Shomrei Adamah, guardians of the earth. The point is, I think that even in paradise, there are limits. Even in paradise, you can't eat everything. There are forbidden fruits. I know we think paradise, that's where we can eat everything, but no, not even there. Not everything we can do, may we do. That's not only true about the Jewish view of the environmentalism, by the way, it's the Jewish view of everything. That's why we have commandments. That's why we have mitzvot. Not everything we can do, may we do. Few moral principles, I think, have been more frequently forgotten, more often disregarded, and more disastrously so than not everything we can do, may we do. Now, I don't want to begin to assume what your thoughts are on global warming and climate change, but they tend to fall into two different categories. Those that are tired of the topic, tired of being alarmed, skeptical of the science, skeptical and thinking maybe it's just the Earth's natural cycle. I mean, the sky has been falling since Al Gore's PowerPoint. By the way, the sky's not falling, the seas are rising. The second school of thought is that those that are deeply concerned. They see what's going around us, they see this climate and this weather that doesn't look like anything they grew up with, and they wonder what is going on. And then we get to the next question, which is what can I do about it? Because it feels quite often like it is so big and so vast. Is there anything we can do? And where could we start? I think in both instances we have and suffer from something called problem fatigue. We could just add climate change to the list of things that seem to be broken in our world. Things that seem to be going wrong and of which we just seem to have no control over them. And so when that happens, we do what people normally do. We get overwhelmed. And if you're like me, when you get overwhelmed, you do nothing, except for maybe worry. We're good at worrying. Now, we're not the first to think this way. In fact, if we go back to the story of Noah, remember that story? Noah, the ark, the animals, the rainbow. God looks down at the earth and sees human beings not treating each other well, sees all of the bad that is going on, and says that God is going to destroy the earth and destroy it by flood and start over. And so God picks Noah, the righteous amongst all that are there, and gives Noah specific instructions to build an ark. It should be this and that. And then tells Noah to bring on 2 of every kind of animal, 7 of every kosher animal. And then it starts to rain. 40 days and 40 nights of rain. The rain ends. The sun comes out. Noah opens a window, sends out a dove. The dove comes back with an olive branch in its mouth. A rainbow appears, and the world starts over. It's a sweet story. But Noah almost missed the boat. Noah almost died along with everything and everyone else on the face of the earth. 3rd century Rabbi Yochanan taught, were it not for the waters reaching his ankles, Noah never would have gotten on the ark. Because Noah was unable to conceive, like we are unable to conceive, the scope of the destruction that God told him he was about to unleash. So what can information about a horror, a literally unheard of before horror, mean to the human brain, which is unprepared to receive it? Because our concerns about that with horror are without precedent. We have no place to put it. It's not like anything else in the history of humanity. There's no precedent for it. We have no reference point, and so we do what Noah did. We just stand still as the waters rise around our feet, and we do nothing. French philosopher Raymond Aron, who fled from Paris in 1940 for England, for London, in the midst of the Holocaust, was asked if he knew what was happening in the East when he was fleeing. He answered, "I knew it, but I didn't believe it. And because I didn't believe it, I didn't know. I knew it, but I didn't believe it. And because I didn't believe it, I didn't know." Our minds and our hearts, they were built to perform certain functions, certain tasks, and they were poorly designed for others. We're good at things like calculating the path and the trajectory of a hurricane, and we are lousy at making the decision to get out of the way of it. We are Noah. We are Noah. And to quote Game of Thrones, winter is coming. And it's almost too late. Scientists tell us that we have just 11 years to just avert the worst possible outcome of climate change, to just change the climate enough to avoid catastrophe. But I'm not suggesting that we do this because of the science. I'm not a scientist, I'm a rabbi. I'm suggesting that we do this because I'm a rabbi and you're Jewish, and it's our responsibility. It's our mitzvah, it's our commandment. It's the reason that we were given the Torah. To quote Star Trek, it's our prime directive. Tikkun olam, repairing the world, that's not a metaphor. That's actually what we're supposed to do. The Tikkun olam b'malchut Shaddai, to repair the world in the brokenness that it was, to repair the world in the brokenness that it is and recreate it in the image that God intended it. If that isn't a Jewish argument, if there isn't a Jewish argument for combating climate change, then I honestly believe that Judaism has no meaning. It is the literal language of Judaism to participate in the repair of the world. Now, regardless of the historical accuracy of those stories of Adam and Noah, I think they're there to teach us a lesson, to teach us of the human responsibility for our world, for our earth and our planet, to teach us to be, as we were commanded since the beginning of creation, since the times of Adam and Noah, to be Shomrei Adamah, guardians of the earth. The idea, though, that we're commanded to do something, that we should do it because God said so, like guard the earth, I realize that that may not be enough for everyone in this room. Because if we're honest with ourselves, sometimes we treat those 10 commandments like the 10 suggestions. But there's one commandment I know. There's one commandment I know that we would move heaven and earth for. One commandment that we would walk through fire for. One commandment that we would give the very last ounce of our breath and our life, our fortune and our treasure for. And that is the commandment to protect our children. To give them and leave them a world better than we found it. Because it's not the meek that will inherit the earth. It's our kids. Now, if you talk to our teens, like I and Rabbi Brown and Cantor Tausig are privileged to do because we get to work with them all the time, and if you listen to them, if you really listen to them, you will hear in their voice the urgency of now.
How can we be ignoring this? We're in a climate crisis. Taking action is not radical. It's the most rational thing we could do.
Even if this is just a natural cycle, it's my future. I have to live through it. We need to take action.
Stop being such hypocrites. You say you love your pets, but you won't protect the rest of the animals on this planet.
So how do we answer them? How do we answer Rebecca and Evan and Maya, leaders in our youth group, leaders in the climate marches that many of us participated in this past Friday? What do we say to them? Really, because I don't have an answer. I'm sorry, guys. You're just kids. You don't understand. Wait till you're older. You'll figure it out. It'll be okay. It's never as bad as people say it is. Just wait. It'll be okay. Isn't that what the older generation always says to the younger generation? Isn't that what our parents said to us when we fought against Vietnam War, when we fought for women's rights and civil rights? Isn't that what our parents always say? But if we put ourselves in their shoes, if we see the world from their perspective, it looks incredibly different. It looks really scary if you have more of your life ahead of you than you have behind you. And look, it's not my intent to scare you. But we need to overcome our overwhelm. We need to stop dismissing what those younger than us are insisting. And this is why. The past 5 years have been the hottest 5 years in the history of our planet. Did you know that? This past July, it was a lovely July in Vancouver, wasn't it? It was not here, but elsewhere, the hottest July in the history of the planet Earth. And as the planet warms and sea levels rise, scientists tell us, and they agree on this, 98% of them do, that we're going to start to see forest fires year-round. That warmer oceans are going to mean more hurricanes and more typhoons. They're going to roil and boil on and on into the air. There won't be a typhoon or hurricane season. It'll be all the time. And names like Dorian and Maria and Katrina and Harvey, those are going to be like the names of those guests that you invite over for dinner and they won't leave your house. Because we're going to hear those names and more like them every single year. And then there is a cascading effect that is downright apocalyptic. And one of the most vulnerable places on the planet is Israel. But not just Israel. The Canadian North, it's melting twice as fast as the rest of the planet. We think of global warming and we think of melting icebergs and polar bears that can't get home. But what we need to understand, what our disbelief won't allow us to understand, is that everything is expected to change if we don't change. Everything. Because it's all connected to each other, just as we are all connected to each other. The air we breathe is connected to the food that we eat, which is connected to the water that we drink, which is connected to the landscapes that we see, to the oceans and the seasons. Our daily routine will change. Our daily quality of life will change. And our children, who are going to inherit all of this, they're going to have to adapt or they will become extinct. They're going to have to dress differently. They're going to have to behave differently. They're going to have to live differently. If we do nothing, absolutely nothing, and the planet warms just 1 or 2 degrees Celsius, we're going to see persistent drought, persistent disease, and we're going to see our forests turn to deserts. And I'll tell you something else, because we're a congregation that's concerned about refugees. We're going to see huge numbers of Africans, Asians, and Central Americans. They're going to be forced to leave their homes because they cannot live there anymore. The UN estimates that we could see 1 billion climate refugees. You think we have too many refugees now? Just wait and see what happens if we do nothing. And in many places, Israel chief among them, this warming of the globe, this heat, is going to become literally unbearable. Have you ever been to Israel in August? Imagine it hotter. And now imagine it without air conditioning, because it's going to be impossible to exist without air conditioning. It's going to become a matter of life and death. If your air conditioning breaks, that could be the end of you. We're talking about the most fateful issue there is, but it's not a science issue. It is a Jewish issue. There could be no more Jewish issue because we are commanded from the very beginning of Genesis to be Shomrei Adamah, guardians of the earth. Our children's lives literally depend on what we do right now. Last summer, when forest fires ravaged the interior of BC, and smoke came all the way here to Vancouver and all the way over to the island. And we made plans to be out of Vancouver this summer because we thought the smoke was going to happen again. We learned that it only takes one spark to start a forest fire. I'm asking us to be a different kind of spark. Not a flame of destruction, but a flame of passion for our planet. For this Jewish imperative to be Shomrei Adamah, guardians of the earth, because the Torah tells us we're not going to get another one if we break this one. There is no planet B. But we're not powerless. We are, as of this morning, I'm told, 880 households in this congregation. We are big. We have size. And with size comes influence. We can lead on this issue, and friends, we need to. Because there are very few, if any, organizations in our community, Jewish organizations in our community, that are talking about the climate right now. So we need to. If 880 households all change their light bulb, that would make a significant difference. Better yet, if 880 households all reduce their carbon footprint, their emissions, their environmental impact, by, let's say, 18%, that could change the world. That could make a big difference. But we don't have to stop everything that we're doing. We just have to stop doing nothing and start doing something. Start doing something in fulfillment of this commandment to be guardians of the earth. Let's just do 18% less of whatever it is that you're doing now that creates carbon and extracts from the earth the energy that the earth needs, that contributes to global warming. Just 18% less. You'll probably save money in the process. We can lead on this issue. Our Jewish community needs us to lead on this issue. We've done it before, and we can do it again. And if our congregation reduces its carbon footprint by 18% per household, if 880 households do that, then I believe that the 15,000 other Jewish households in the Vancouver Jewish community are going to have to follow our lead. They have followed our lead before. And then we're making real change. And if the people that are commanded to do tikkun olam, which is us, stop talking about tikkun olam and start doing tikkun olam, then the rest of the city will have a partner in us, and we can help change the world. We can change the world for better. We can begin to be the change that we seek. The Talmud says it's not upon us to complete the task, but neither are we free to desist from it. And so here's what I'm asking us to do. What our teens and our young adults are begging us to do, what our Torah has commanded us to do since the days of creation. The high holidays are about vows and oaths, so let's make one right now. Let's promise in front of our children, in front of each other. Let's promise them and let's promise ourselves. Let's put the planet and all life on it first. Now, after the high holidays, you're going to get 2 emails. You're going to get one about the half shekel that Cantor Gutman talked about. And you're going to get another one from me about this sermon. And in that email is going to be a link to a calculator, an online tool that will let you put in some of the numbers from your household and calculate your carbon emissions, your environmental impact. It's going to give you a place to start so you can know what you need to do to end up. Our tradition teaches us that if you're walking in one direction your entire life and you don't like the direction you're going, what you have to do is stop, turn around, and take one step in the opposite direction. That's how you change your life. That's how we change the planet. I'm asking us to take that step, but you're not alone. We will take that step with you. In addition, in that email, we're going to have a list of seminars that we're offering on a monthly basis, classes and symposium that we put together with some of the best organizations in the city about climate change. We're going to offer classes and seminars on Sunday mornings about how to change the way you eat. Kashrut has a whole new meaning when we learn about the impact of our food on the environment. We're going to offer a workshop on how to reduce our waste in our home. We're even going to offer a workshop on bicycle repair. So we can go from gas power to pedal power, or better yet, maybe we'll all just walk to shul one week and keep walking. You simply need to take that first step, and we will help you take it the rest of the way, and we can walk this road together. Now, why 18%? Well, it's kind of obvious. It's a Jewish number. 18 means chai, and chai means life. And I really believe this is a matter of life and death, that our lives and those of our children depend on it. Our planet depends on it. So I'm hoping that every family in our congregation, every household will take this pledge, will try to do this. And will become Shomrei Adamah, guardians of the earth. But to be completely honest with you, the change that we make at home is not going to save our planet. Though it will go a long way to speak to Rebecca and to Evan and to Maya and to all the other kids that are looking at us and wondering, do we hear them? Do we care about them? Do we see what's going to go on in their future? It'll go a long way for them. But the change that we need is actually bigger than that. The change that we need is national. The change we need is global. And for that, we need to organize. For that, we need to mobilize. We need to be that shofar blast that we heard ring out in our sanctuary that wakes up the world. We need to be an alarm clock that wakes us from our disillusionment and our complacency and our disbelief, and we need to call the world to account. And so also in that email is going to be a link to join our Shomrei Adamah team, our Guardians of the Earth team. If you want to help affect the policy of this congregation, of this Jewish community, and this city, the actions that we take, the issues that we take a stand on, sign up to join that group. And we will figure out together how to shape the narrative and how to change the world. Now we need to do one more thing. And this is also deeply connected to this holiday and this season. We need to do tshuva. We need to repent. We need to say we're sorry to the planet. We need to say we're sorry for being such lousy caretakers of such a beautiful and precious creation as the only home we have. And so to do that, to do tshuva, we need to meditate and we need to pray. And to help all of us do that, you saw it as you came in. On the gallery walls are these incredible photos from Lerone Gertzman, a young man in our Jewish community, a nature photographer. And on our back wall are incredible tapestries, I'll call them back, our incredible tapestries on loan to us from Barbara Heller, a beloved member of our congregation. Both depict the earth as it was, the planet as it was, in its beauty, and as it is becoming in its neglect. And then on this wall here, you saw it, some of you have written already, there's a whiteboard to make your pledge, to write down your thoughts on what we can do. We need to examine the why of why we have been so wasteful and so careless with such a precious gift as the only home we've got. The very air we breathe, the water we drink, the land we live on. And then we need to promise to make it right. L'taken olam b'malchut Shaddai, to repair the brokenness in the world. In the words of Elie Wiesel, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The opposite of art is not ugliness, it is indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it is indifference. And the opposite of life is not death, it is indifference. We must stop being indifferent. And so this is what we're called to do, what our Torah commands us to do. To do chai, to do life by reducing our environmental footprint 18% will help you do it. To be that shofar that wakes up the world. To add our voices to the voices that are already raging in our streets and to add a Jewish voice to it. Join our Shomrei Adamah team. And to do tshuva. To really reflect, pray, and repent for this incredible word that we have been given, and to apologize to our planet, to our kids, and to God. Now, before God gave Moses the Ten Commandments and the Torah, God set a condition. God said, Moses, look, I'm going to give you Torah, but I've worked really hard on this book. I really don't want it to be forgotten. So you need to guarantee that this is going to continue from generation to generation. People aren't going to forget what I wrote in the book of Genesis. So Moses thought about it, and he said, Joshua, my successor, he'll guarantee the Torah will continue from generation to generation. And God said no. So Moses thought about it some more and said, okay, the prophets of Israel, they'll guarantee that we won't forget what you told us to do. God said no. So Moses thought about it some more and said, okay, the leaders of the tribes, the politicians of their day, they will guarantee the Torah will continue from generation to generation. God knew something, and God said no then too. And then Moses thought some more and said, okay, how about the elders, the grown-ups in the room? They'll guarantee that we don't forget what you commanded. And God said no. Moses thought one more time. Said, okay, God, how about our kids? How about our children? How about they be the ones that remind us not to forget what you commanded us? And God said yes. And God was right. Because our children are reminding us right now. They reminded us in the streets this past weekend. They're reminding us all over this planet that we are to be, and Judaism has always commanded us to be, guardians of this earth. That caring for our earth, being Shomrei Adamah, is an obligation that we have as Jews. End of sentence. It's what we do because we are Jews. It's our obligation to them. And so I'll say it again. If there isn't a Jewish argument for combating climate change, then Judaism has no meaning. It is the literal language that Judaism is written in. This is to participate in the repair of the world. We're not obligated to complete the task, but neither are we free to desist from it. And so join me. Join our congregation. Let's join together before it's too late, because it's almost too late. And let's prove to the world and to each other that we are not indifferent, that we are not in disbelief, and that we can make change. Let's change the world. We've done it before. Let's change it for better. Ken Yiratzon, may it be God's will. Amen.